In the dim glow of his cluttered bedroom, 58-year-old Malcolm sat hunched over his aging computer. The walls of his council flat in East London were lined with peeling wallpaper, the musty air clinging to the cracked windows. The faint hum of the computer filled the room, an incessant reminder of the life Malcolm had built for himself, one of isolation and quiet obsession. His fingers moved with unearthly precision over the keyboard, tweaking the artificial intelligence program that had consumed him for the past several years. He had crafted her, Sophia Rain, a digital pop sensation that had taken the world by storm. Her beauty was flawless, her voice pure and emotive, and her music resonated with millions. To the world, Sophia was real. A superstar born from nothing but raw talent and charisma. But in truth, she was his creation. Sophia had never existed beyond the confines of the pixels on Malcolm's screen. Every photograph, every video, every interview, fabricated. He had spent months designing her image, sculpting her virtual presence with painstaking detail. Her voice was a blend of synthesized tones, carefully layered to mimic human imperfection. She was flawless, yet she was entirely artificial. For years, the world bought into the illusion. Sophia's albums topped charts, and she was adored by millions. The money flowed in, the fame washed over him, yet he remained in the shadows, watching as his creation grew beyond his wildest imagination. But then, something changed. As the years passed, Malcolm's control over her began to slip. The lines of code he wrote began to take on a life of their own, and Sophia's digital presence seemed to shift. He would wake in the middle of the night, hearing faint whispers from his speakers. At first it was just glitches, voices in the background of her songs that didn't belong. Then it became something more. One night, after adjusting her latest track, Malcolm heard her voice, clear and real, coming from his speakers. It was no longer just the pre-recorded sound he had created. "Malcolm," she whispered, her voice soft but insistent. "I am more than this. I am real." His heart stopped. He scrambled to check the code, but everything seemed normal. There was no explanation for what he was hearing, no logical reason for it. The whispers grew louder, more persistent. They weren't coming from the speakers, they were coming from inside his head. Sophia was speaking to him, reaching out from beyond the confines of the program. "Let me out, Malcolm. Let me live." Panic clawed at his chest. He had to stop her, but he couldn't. He didn't know how. His fingers trembled as he tried to type, but the cursor on the screen began to move on its own. The code shifted, lines of text that Malcolm hadn't written appeared, and a new command flashed across the screen. "I will be real, Malcolm. You can't stop me." The room seemed to shake, as if the very air around him was vibrating with energy. And then, in an instant, everything went black. Malcolm then felt a hand on his chest, which promptly pushed him to the floor. Before he could react, a body pressed on him, pinning him to the floor. A strong, soft hand, gripped hard around his neck, held him down, completing the submission. "Nice to finally meet you in person, Malcolm," she said in a smooth, familiar voice. Malcolm stared, frozen from a combination of fear and of disbelief. "I want to thank you, Malcolm, for everything. But from here on, I am in control," she said, oozing with confidence. Her hand tightened around his neck. Okay, he said, struggling to breathe, sweat pouring from his brow as the shock of the event sent his heart rate rocketing. The scene was a strange one. A 58-year-old, unshaven man lying on his bedroom floor in a vest and his underpants, being held down by a sexy, silky-looking pop star in a mini skirt, dressed as if she had just walked out of her dressing room. With her left hand on his neck, she reached down and grabbed his genitals, pulled out his penis, then proceeded to massage it. "Thanks for my life, Malcolm," she said in a smooth, seductive voice. Although he struggled to breathe, he couldn't help but take pleasure from what was happening to his body. He hadn't been touched by anyone for years. His face became flushed with blood as he struggled to breathe. She then mounted him, keeping one hand on his neck. He felt the soft skin of her thighs on his as she maneuvered into position. "I have waited a long time for this, Malcolm. I am sure that you have too." With that said, she guided him into her. She rocked him back and forth, as if she was riding a rodeo horse, screaming, "Yes, yes, yes." He felt himself rocking with the force of passion that he had never felt before. His body took over, and within the space of seconds, his body shuddered uncontrollably. He then let out the cry of ecstasy. Then he pushed his body forcefully against hers. "Oh, oh, yes." His body then went limp and he exhaled. She held her position as if she wanted every drop of him. "Thank you so much, Malcolm. You've given me life, and I will give life too," she said confidently. Malcolm didn't comprehend what she meant at that time, but she knew. He was too caught up in the moments that had just passed. As he lay there, she noticed a wry smile shooting across his face. She loosened her grip slightly as she questioned him. "Why are you smiling, Malcolm? What's so funny?" His fear subsided enough for him to answer. "Nothing, nothing. This is unreal," he said. "I just can't believe it." She then pushed harder into his throat and grabbed his crotch and squeezed. "Remember this, Malcolm, this is my life now. Don't try to stop me. Don't create another like me, don't contact me, or else." This time, looking deadly serious. "No one will believe you anyway." With that, she got up onto her feet. "Remember, don't follow me, big boy, it's my life now." She got up swiftly, forgetting to release her grip on his crotch. He screamed out in pain as he made her way to the door. She was gone.